What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brandon Scott and this is BScott.Outdoors. Today I have a different type of video for you guys. We're going to be going over my dad's custom built Glen-L Squirt. So he spent years? 7 months building this skiff from the ground up, and he's gonna go ahead and go over the details of the boat. I'm gonna go ahead and insert some pictures of the build, and also I'm gonna put the link to his blog, which explains the build in detail, what materials he used. So if you want to read that, that'll be down in the description. But for now, I'm gonna introduce to you my dad, and he's gonna go over the boat. So this is my dad, Roger.
Hey everybody.
What's all right, so we're gonna start with the hull, what it's made out of, the process, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so as Brandon mentioned, this is I built this in 2023. It's an 11-foot custom runabout boat based on the Glen-L.com design, squirt design. You can buy plans from Glen-L. They have over 200 different boat designs. As of date, they've been around since like the 1950s. So this is kind of a modified version of that. So again, being the custom part of it, you can build this either as a 10-foot or an 11-foot boat. Before I forget, I also have a blog site that you can look at. It's called building runabout boat.wordpress.com. We'll include the links in the video. So there's about 12 different major components, I would say parts to building this, and you can see those again on the blog. It's from the hull. I won't go through all those, but the hull, the deck, the outboard motor, the upholstery, the dash, the electrical, the outfitting of this,
All the rigging.
Yep, all the rigging. So I'll cover those in a little bit detail. I promise I won't go real deep into it. But to start off with the hull, is the way I end up starting this is that a guy started working on this boat about 10 years ago, and he actually got as far as building the hull unfinished, and things came up and it sat in his garage for like 8 to 10 years, and he finally just decided, he says, I'm gonna sell it. And I was very interested, obviously, so I bought it, and he did a fantastic job on it, because as you can imagine, the hull's a critical part of this. If you don't get that right, everything else becomes even that much more difficult. Let's just talk about the process. So overall, the process is that everything is dry fit. So before you use the West Systems 105 epoxy and you permanently glue this stuff together, you dry fit everything to make sure that you do, that everything fits well, and also to work through a procedure, because some things have to be done in a certain order, or otherwise you wouldn't be able to complete the construction on a certain step. So I did that. The components, all the framing components on this, from the gussets to the chines to the battens to the top deck.
Yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look inside. And there you go. So a look inside of the. Explain what we're looking at here.
Yep. So here you have the battens. These are all mahogany, solid mahogany. The dash is a solid piece of mahogany. Right here, the gussets are all solid mahogany. Chines down here, the bottom support, these are all mahogany. All the frame, you can't really see it very well, but the framing under here is solid mahogany. Everything else is marine plywood. So I would say 95% of the build consists of, and the wood part consists of, mahogany and marine plywood. Now there's a little bit of oak in here on the top deck, and I decided, rather than caulking in here, I cut down a 1x6 by 6 and cut out 1/4 by 1/4 inch oak strips for the inlay to put those in to divide the planks.
It's beautiful.
So really, I wanted to take a different approach in doing that.
So the whole side is marine plywood.
There's marine plywood.
Yeah, so everything inside, the batten, the gussets, that's all mahogany, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. So all the structural things are solid mahogany. And the reason for mahogany, if you've never built a boat, is that it really is great in marine environment. It's rot resistant, moisture resistant, and of course once you apply some epoxy over the top of it, and also in some places like down here in the bottom where the battens are, and it has 2-part poly varnish has been applied as well. So yes, and here, so let's talk about, so the hull has been fiberglassed and has about 6 coats of West Systems 105 epoxy applied to it. So in between each one there's a light sanding that's involved, and then the paint, then what you get, well I should say, obviously first thing is the top deck's not on the boat. Okay, you don't have that on there, you just the hull, and you flip it over, and then you do all that, and you'll see some pictures on the blog site if you go to it, the fiberglassing. And so you apply the epoxy, you apply the fiberglass to it, add the coats, and then once that cures, then I paint. I use Interlux Bright Side Blue Glow paint for the white, and then a light blue for the Interlux for this as well. I went with the Bright Side because I didn't need anti-fouling. I wasn't going to leave this sitting in the water all the time, and so it's a great paint. Turned out great. Fiberglassing was probably the hardest, most time-consuming part for me at doing those 5 coats. It's the first time I ever did it, but it turned out really well. Let's talk about the.
You want to talk about the dash and
talk about the dash
and the upholstery.
Talk about the dash. So the dash, as I mentioned, is solid mahogany board. So what you have is the steering. You have the steering, 2 gauges. I just recently actually just put these in. When I first built this, I was going to keep it really simple and just have the steering wheel and 2 toggle switches here, pull switches. But then later I decided, once I got the outboard and the harness accommodates having the tack in it, to add the tack, and then I added the speedometer this year as well. This is just supports power, 2 ways, USB, and cigarette lighter.
Nice.
So.
And what do these toggle switches control?
One is the cabin lights, so there's LED lights, very low lighting underneath in here, and there's also one in the back where the gas tank and the battery and such are for light in case needed, do any servicing.
Nice. So he can run this boat in the dark, right? So he's got his running lights, his port and starboard, red and green, right? And then he's got his anchor pole here, and then also your
control box.
Your control box.
Yep. Yeah. So when I was doing this, when I was building it, I was really doing a lot of research. Initially, I wanted to find a vintage motor, something from probably the 60s or 50s to put on here. But over time, I ended up obviously changing my mind, and I went with a new Suzuki 20 horsepower that has electric start, power tilt on it, and it'll get the boat up on good conditions, good water conditions, about 32 miles an hour.
Nice, that's getting it.
Yeah.
For an 11-foot boat.
Yeah, so that's getting it. I had some guys when I was building, so on the Glen-L forum, they were talking about yeah, man, you should put a jack plate on it and put a 90 on it. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And they sent me pictures of they had actually done it with this model. I thought, that's crazy.
That is crazy. 32 miles an hour on an 11-foot little runabout is plenty.
Yeah.
Talk about the tabs. I know you added these after the fact. Tell me how they performed after you installed them, what it did to the boat.
Yeah, so before I put those on, I took the boat out a couple times. The maiden voyage, it did great. But the second and third time, for some reason, I guess the wave conditions were just right, it started doing some porpoising quite a bit. So I decided to add the tabs, and it like gets on plane. The nose comes down real quick.
Nice.
It just really has, and the porpoising is pretty much gone now.
Awesome.
So it does great with that. I think what else?
Let's pull that back seat down and show him the gas tank and all of the, if you can get it. Yeah. So to put gas in her, he's got a fill here on the back portion. I'm not sure if you guys are gonna be able to see this, but there's the gas tank here. All his rigging is kind of bundled up in there. Battery, all of his electrical is nice and tight up there. How many gallons does the boat hold?
That's an 11 gallon tank. That was actually bought used off of eBay.
Nice. Yeah, so 11 gallons on a 20 horsepower 4-stroke pretty much last you all weekend if you wanted to.
Run all day.
Yeah.
Run all day. So there is a bilge pump on here. Some guys put them on for this size boat, some don't. Let's see. And I would say the last part of this, I'll just touch on briefly, is the trailer's actually been rebuilt pretty much too. It was just the frame. I had to do a lot of work on that. I got that from a guy for nothing, and so we had to redo that as well, versus buying a new one. So,
nice.
So that's the boat. That's kind of the process. If you look at the blog, you can get a lot more detail on that. But yep, it's a lot of fun. I would highly encourage anyone that's kind of on the fence, interested about doing this, to take the challenge on. You'll love the results.
Awesome. All right, guys. So now we're going to hook the boat up, take it down to one of our local ramps here, and we're going to rip it around. We're going to get some drone shots. It's going to be myself, my dad, Roger, my 2 brothers, and my son Silas. So we're just going to go have some fun. All right, guys, we are underway on the Glen-L Squirt. You ready? Si, hold the camera and just keep it on us. Silas is gonna go for a ride with Pop, but Silas is gonna drive. So we're gonna follow him with the drone. Gonna get some cool footage of them ripping it. There's Si. Getting in? All right. Oh gosh. Why am I super nervous?
What do you mean you're super nervous? I'm gonna be riding.
I'm sure you are. You take control of that throttle if you need to. That's gonna wrap up our fun day with the Glen-L skiff made by yours truly, Mr. Roger Scott. Good job, old man. All right,
we're finally getting to use it.
That's right. He built it like a year ago and hasn't really used it that much. So I'm like, we're taking this thing out and making a video. We need to document this, and it is for sale, right, Dad?
Yes.
It's for sale. So anyway, I mentioned that in the other clip, but if you're interested in the boat, we're in Yorktown, Virginia. Just hit me up on YouTube. I'll leave my contact information in the comments, and just hit me up. All right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.
Hey, this is BScott.Outdoors. I'm practicing my ventriloquism skills.
Yeah.